Hi there folks, Dr. Khan here for a support video again for RSU 22. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video here today. A lot of the questions that are coming in are going to be part of a Q&A session. I'm hoping my third or fourth session for you folks. In the short term, what I wanted to do is talk about some of the general support topics that people have raised with me and the things we're really coping with a lot here in our community. One of the most important things to think about and to realize in terms of coping with COVID-19 is that COVID is both a murderer and a thief. And I think that for most of us, the impacts of COVID over the last, 6-8 months have been about the loss of things that have been taken from us. Now, folks have been impacted to the point where we've had illness, we've had people pass away within our communities, and those losses are immeasurable and massive. The other losses are more insidious. The idea about COVID as a thief is about what we lose in terms of our rituals, our normalcy, our ability to live our lives in a way that we are accustomed to. And for so many of us and those in the teaching profession, so much of this comes into play in terms of setting our expectations. Your expectations for your daily work, for how you do things in the day-to-day, was affected by the idea that you had substantial training, you had student teaching, you had opportunities to be mentored and part of your school community. And then you are immersed into that community as a professional after all of those training opportunities. COVID, on the other hand, has shaken the foundations of all that you're asked to do, and your expectations have to change dramatically. Your expectations, while under massive duress, have to change. So while you still may have the same learning targets and the same opportunities to transmit and provide certain kinds of learning, the expectations for performance, for outcomes, are going to be substantially different. As I said in your previous video, it's really going to be important to forgive yourself and to take into perspective the idea that not only are you losing out on all of these opportunities, changes in your rituals, changes in your routines, our families are as well. How do we address this from the word go? The first thing you have to do is start looking at how much time are you spending taking care of your preparation and doing your work. Compare as best you can the work you're doing today compared to what you were doing before COVID. You're likely to find that you're substantially increasing the amount of time you're spending on your work. Creating new healthy rituals are going to be exceedingly important. Making sure that you create a schedule for yourself if you're providing remote learning or working with hybrid students outside of your normal workday. It's going to be very important that you set limits and schedule parameters for yourselves. You cannot be putting yourselves in situations where you're doing emails at 11 o'clock at night, getting up several hours early. This is something that is being stolen from you by COVID. That stability and that time and the overlap of your personal life and your work life have become very much blurred. If we think about how to alter that perspective, you have to ask yourself, are you giving yourself enough time to do things that you value? As you approach the holiday season here, rituals and engagement in things that are good for you, if you're not able to go out shopping, you're not meeting with friends and having get-togethers, these are losses. These are things that are worth mourning and feeling sad about. At the very same time, establishing new rituals and additional rituals for yourselves within your households are incredibly important. Whether it's instead of going out into the community and doing activities with other people, can you create some opportunities within your family? A scavenger hunt for certain things within your home, getting out in nature to a certain degree, spending some time using online endeavors as an alternative to some of the in-person endeavors. Is it as good? Probably not. But having the opportunity to be creative and acknowledge what's going on that's different in your lives right now is going to be very important. Being upset, being angry, being frustrated about the impacts to your life from COVID are completely acceptable. Being willing to reach out to your friends, to your coworkers, and to your families to talk about the things that you guys miss, to talk about ways to reunite and spend time together even in the remote methodology. So much of what we do in terms of navigating our anxiety is coping with the unknown. Your rituals are gone, your schedules are changed, you're providing more effort and energy to try to take care of these things, and without a doubt, this is feeling less effective. So if you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling upset, that's really typical. That's expected at this point in time. The question of what you do with it is going to come down to you. Setting those limits for your time. When I say do self-care, that's such a vague statement. Ask yourself through writing a list, What are things that you do that you enjoy, both with your family and individually? And if you look at those lists and you find that you're not doing those things, it's time to start scheduling them. Scheduling actual activities for pleasure and enjoyment. Ask your kids, ask your family about what you can do that might expand your rituals to do things that are fun for you. Being able to go out and drive and look at holiday lights, to go out and to see things in nature, to go out and find the miracles of all the things that are going on around you. We have a lot that we're trying to cope with at this point in time. Your expectations for yourselves are likely too great most days, and you have to reality test. Compare today to a year and a half ago and ask yourself, would I have worked this hard if I wasn't required to? And the question will be, how can I work better? How can I have expectations that keep me healthy, keep the people around me from having to cope and deal with an irritable, angry person? And how do I do things to make my job better? Don't hesitate to talk to your administrators, your coworkers. Take the time to reach out and share questions with me. My hope is that the video I produce next week will be a series of question and answer. I've got a good dozen, nearly 20, I think, actually, questions that I'm going to try to talk about. And there will be a live session before we get to the end of December here. Thanks again, folks, for being a part of this support series, and I hope it reaches you well. Stay healthy, be well, and have a happy holiday season. Make things work for yourselves and find some new rituals. Have a great day.